What's up, everybody? The day has finally arrived. That's right, Batman 158 has dropped, which is the start of the Hush 2 story arc. The original Hush arc is one of the top 5 best Batman stories of all time, and it is easily one of the most iconic. I mean, Batman's design and look alone in the original Hush is one of the most iconic visuals for Batman. That classic Jim Lee blue and gray with the big black bat symbol on his chest, it's one of my favorite Batman designs of all time, so the fact that we're getting a sequel to this story is just amazing. It's got me very excited, but also cautiously optimistic because sequels are always a roll of the dice. However, one very big reason to be optimistic is that the creative team is back with writer Jeff Loeb and artist Jim Lee. So with that understood, let's dive into Hush 2. Batman 158 starts off with narration from Batman just like the original story did. We see Batman flying in on a glider and creating a bat symbol while passing the moon as he says to himself, "I made a promise on the grave of my parents to rid the city of the evil that took their lives." It seems like yesterday, a call from then Captain Jim Gordon, Gotham City Police Department. Some maniac threatened to poison the Gotham Reservoir, calls himself the Joker. I stopped him then, I will stop him now. Batman then lands on top of a garbage truck and he looks down to see it dumping Joker fish into Gotham's reservoir once again. The Dark Knight then kicks Joker's henchman who's driving the truck and yells, "Where is he?" But the driver is unresponsive at this point because, as the Joker said in The Dark Knight, you shouldn't lead with the head, it makes the victim all fuzzy. But anyway, we also then see Joker gas coming from behind the henchman's mask as he becomes Jokerized. Batman then says to himself, "Found the 2 garbage truck drivers, stripped of their uniforms, a bullet in their heads. 2 nights ago, a break-in at the Gotham City Aquarium," followed by a kick to another Joker thug who comes up behind him with a shotgun. As Batman is about to throw his next punch, he says to himself, 15-inch thick fiberglass tanks were smashed. In particular, an entire exhibit of red-bellied piranha went missing, which is exactly where the Joker got all this piranha that he has Jokerized and is now having poured into the reservoir. So after he takes out all of Joker's henchmen, Batman looks inside the garbage truck and says to himself, "Poisoning the reservoir, the toxic fish, the murderous grin." Even in his unique state of madness, the Joker never went for old crimes. Why repeat the old jokes? But at that moment, the Joker comes out of the garbage truck and hits Batman across the face with a crowbar. He then tells Batman while kicking him into the reservoir, "Oh, and in case you're trying to figure out my motive for all this, Batbrain, if at first you don't succeed, cry, cry again." Which is such a classic old school Joker line. Love that. But while we're talking Batman, you guys have got to see this insane haul sent over by our friends and today's sponsor, Big Bad Toy Store, from their Batman collection. And I'm going to start with this freaking amazing McFarlane Toys 1/1 scale replica of the 1966 TV series Batman Cowl. I was constantly watching reruns of the campy but classic 66 Adam West Batman as a kid, so this was my Batman before Keaton or BTAS. And as you can see behind me, it's already a fixture on set. But Big Bad Toy Store also sent over this Batman Returns 1/10 scale limited edition statue by Iron Studios, which features Michael Keaton Batman brooding over Gotham from atop the bat signal. We've said it many times on the show, but Keaton Batman is just the GOAT, and this piece is amazing, so it's already made the cut for the set as well. In fact, everything in this haul is now on set because the last piece we got from Big Bad Toy Store is this Dark Knight Returns Batman and Horse action figure by Mafex. And as you might expect, it has premium details, articulation, and a bunch of accessories and display options. All of this and a ton more can be found in Big Bad Toy Store's Batman collection at bigbadtoystore.com. And they have collector grade and standard grade product options for collectors of any level and any price range. But their massive inventory doesn't stop with Batman. They have toys and collectibles from franchises across geekdom. Not to mention, you can use their pile of loot system to stack products in your own curated pile of loot for up to 90 days and score flat rate shipping in the US for $4 anytime. So do yourself a favor and use our link in the description to shop Big Bad Toy Store's in-stock and pre-order Batman items, because you deserve it. Okay, jumping back to Hush 2 Part 1, we move to the next page where we see Batman land inside the Gotham Reservoir, and he immediately starts getting attacked by Jokerized piranha. He then says to himself, "The Joker brings chaos to Gotham, and I am here to restore order." And as the piranha continue to swarm and bite at Batman, he starts to pull off his mask while saying, "If my cowl's removed against my will, forcing it, the assailant would either receive a face full of tear gas or a jolt of 300 milliamps." And before he finishes that sentence, the slight removal of his mask releases an electrical charge on all the piranha, but it also releases the electrical charge on himself, which knocks Batman unconscious. And as he's floating there on top of the water, a helicopter with a spotlight finds him and we see a woman swimming towards him. On the next page, we see the Joker laughing hysterically, saying, "Like shooting barrels in a fish. I do so enjoy it when he gets involved." But the Joker's laughter is quickly interrupted as a big old Samoan-looking dude grabs him by the shirt and picks him up. And the Joker tells him, "Make way, big fella, this is a no-loading loading zone. The big guy then releases some sort of noise or charge, causing the Joker's ears to bleed as the big guy says, "On your knees." So the Joker has no choice but to fall to his knees, covering his ears in pain as he's dragged away with one of his shoes falling off. A mysterious person that's there just watching then says, "Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet." And at this point, all we see from this person is his boot and the tail of his jacket. But by the color of his boot, we can assume that this is Hush. From here, we're taken to Batgirl's clock tower where we see she's with Nightwing, and she begins to tell him, "Number 1 just went offline," and he responds, "What? Just do the voodoo you do and get him back, Babs," followed by asking, "Last location?" And she sarcastically responds, "Gotham City." He then essentially responds by saying, "Can you be any more vague? We've got like 9 Robins and 14 Batgirls and a Huntress. Can't you reach out to one of them?" And she just tells him he's not helping. Also, it's a really funny ad that Nightwing is acknowledging how many different Robins and Batgirls there are, because in a way, he's kind of speaking for the fans. Anyway, Batgirl then says, "Either he or we are being jammed," to which Nightwing responds, "That can't happen." But as Batgirl hits her computer out of frustration, she tells him, "Hate to tell you, Dick, it's happening." The next panel then returns us back to Batman, where we see that mysterious lady has pulled him out of the water and is giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And in the middle of that, Batman's internal monologue says, echoing in the black fog, "Selena?" And while she continues doing CPR on Batman, she says out loud, "Do not disappoint me." Eventually, Batman coughs up the water and starts breathing again and asks her, "How did you find me?" And on the next page, we see it's not Selena, but Talia al Ghul. Batman then asks, "Talia, you were tracking me?" Then we see his internal monologue that explains, "Daughter of Ra's al Ghul, daughter of the demon." Talia then responds to Batman, "You mean how you let others?" "I came to visit Damian, and I have more than a passing interest in the health of his father. He almost died tonight. I cannot have that. Remember, the greater the number of people who believe in you, the more they are to be disappointed in you." She follows this by grabbing the ladder on the helicopter and flies off. But as she begins to fly away, Batman yells, "Where's the Joker, Talia?" But he gets no answer, and from here we are taken back to the Joker, where we see it is indeed Hush who has captured him and tied him down. And he has him tied down to a contraption that forces his mouth open when he cranks it. It's something right out of the Saw movies. Anyway, Hush then says, "I doubt you can hear me. The damage to your eardrums is incapacitating. The man you encountered tonight has a very unique gift. He goes by many names, but I prefer Silence," which fully introduces that big Samoan-looking dude we saw earlier, and I gotta say, Silence is a great name. It also pairs really nicely with Hush, but he goes on to say, "I have found in life when you want someone to listen to you, to actually comprehend your intent, do not raise your voice. Quite the opposite, lower your voice, and it draws them in, to your whisper." And all the while, he keeps cranking the machine, and Joker's mouth opens wider and wider. He then spins the Joker on what we now see as the Wheel of Death while saying to him, "You told me once this town isn't big enough for 2 homicidal maniacs. I have news for you. I am not a maniac. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort." At which point, he begins to throw knives at the Joker while he spins on the Wheel of Death. And every single knife Hush throws lands at a strategic spot on the Joker's body. We then see Hush continue to say, "An intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. I purposely nicked several of your arteries. You are bleeding to death. Deep inside your body, you might have 2 to 3 hours, maybe even a day or so. You can yell for help. Someone could come to your rescue. Let's do something about that." He then cranks the machine, forcing the Joker's mouth open even wider. Hush then goes on, "Fortunately, you're in the skilled hands of an unlicensed surgeon. The Joker is going to die. If only you had a family. Who will mourn for you?" So at this point, it looks like Hush is out to do what Batman has never done. Kill the Joker, and poetically at that. But from here, we are taken to the Batcave, where we see Batman is putting on a new bat suit with the classic yellow oval bat symbol on it. And this is due to the fact that he's repairing his blue and gray suit that got damaged during the Joker attack. Batman even says to himself, "The suit's outer circuitry was compromised when the Joker struck me. It would explain why it both electrocuted me and the fish. Did he know the exact spot to hit me? Was it random or luck?" At that point, Batgirl and Nightwing then pop up on the Bat computer, with Batgirl saying, "You're back online." Nightwing responds, "I was on my way." But Batman asks, "What are you talking about?" They then explain, "Your signal dropped out. I've been trying to reestablish contact, but either you or we were being jammed." Batman then realizes that something is very wrong and says, "Stop. We've been compromised," initiating lockdown. But before Batman can shut down all communications, they try to ask, "What about the others?" They don't, but the connection cuts out before they can finish their sentence. Batman then turns and stares at a table in the Batcave as he realizes it has Joker's shoe on it, revealing that Hush was able to get into the Batcave and plant the Joker's shoe. The shoe we actually see fall off of Joker's foot in front of him at the beginning of the issue. And on the next page, he says to himself, "The sole was stained, a combination of sawdust, diesel oil, mud, and animal dung. The makings of a circus. As there's no circus in town, that leaves this abandoned amusement park, aka Amusement Mile, which Joker often uses as a base of operations. is. This jumps to Batman arriving at Amusement Mile, where we see him walking inside. He sees footprints that are recent and he says to himself, the shoe was left with intent. He then walks inside the abandoned circus tent and the lights turn on, with a voice saying, lights, camera, action, as a mechanical Joker's arm holding revolvers starts shooting at him. Batman dives out of the way and starts throwing batarangs at all of them, disarming the robotic arms, and yells, I'm coming for you, Joker. He then jumps through a maze of mirrors, and when he lands on the other side, he sees the Joker tied to the wheel of death. But as he stares at the Joker, understandably quite confused, a recording of the Joker comes on saying, welcome back, my friend, to the show that never ends. Batman's inner monologue then tells us this was never about the Joker. He was only the pawn. Poisoning the reservoir dated our first encounter. As the recording of Joker simultaneously continues to play, saying, so many memories, your old pal Jim Gordon, his beautiful daughter Barbara, your precious Robin. That one really stings. But then footage of Jim Gordon and Barbara rolls on the monitors from the events of The Killing Joke, as well as footage of the Joker killing Jason Todd with a crowbar, forcing Batman to relive some of the greatest tragedies he's ever had to endure. All of this forces Batman to think to himself, how long have I tolerated his existence, the pain he has inflicted, not just me, on the ones I care for. Finally, he lies dying. Only one man could or would do this. The recording of the Joker then continues to say, so this is quite a pickle. Let's say you just left me here to die. Croak. Kick the bucket. Since you know, it's not like you did the deed, who would know? Except you. As we see Batman stab the Joker in the head with the scalpel, which is, a little bit of a big deal. But throughout these panels where this is playing out, we also see Batman say, one man with the knowledge of who I am and what I believe in, who has the skills to execute what he sees as a game, my childhood friend and world-renowned surgeon, Tommy Elliot. Hush has returned. And with that, my friends, the issue comes to an end. What can I say? This has been a great start to the sequel of Hush. It's a really interesting concept to have Hush come in and force Batman to do what he would never do in the past, kill the Joker. And to accomplish that, he just plays on all the horrendous stuff the Joker has done to Batman and all those he cares about throughout the years, and forcing him to face the realization that throughout all of it, he was never willing to permanently end the threat. But writer Jeff Loeb and artist Jim Lee have promised lots of twists and turns in this story, so I'm very curious to see what they have in store as it continues to roll out. Either way, this has been one heck of a start, and the fact that we're getting to see Jim Lee's classic Batman Hush art once again just brings in all kinds of nostalgia with it. But now it's over to you, my friends. What did you guys think of the kickoff to Batman Hush 2? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Other than that, we will see you next time when we talk about all things comics.